Welcome to the Rink Report. It's being brought to you by Ohio Credit Union. I'm Bob McElligott with Jody, Shelley. And Jody, today started off with some great news. Fans are going to be allowed to return to Nationwide Arena, 10% capacity on March the 2nd. I'll give you the details in a second, but let me get your initial reaction to that.
Oh, it's so great. It's going to be great to have fans there. It's not going to be many, but just the significance of the initial sign of that, the thought that this is happening, which a few months ago we never knew or never thought that if it ever would happen. So it's a great day to hear that announcement by the Blue Jackets and the way that all came down. It's exciting. And, you know, the fans that are going to be in there, it's going to be great to have you back in those seats.
All right, here are some of the details of it. The state has approved 1,953 fans. That's 10% of what the building holds. Season ticket holders are going to get priority access for games starting on March the 2nd against the Red Wings through pre-sales. Public on-sale date is being finalized right now. To get all of the information about the tickets and about the protocols that are in place, go to bluejackets.com/welcome back. And we can't wait to have you back in the building starting on March the 2nd. Let's talk about tonight's game against the Nashville Predators. The Blue Jackets going for the sweep of this two-game series. But Jody, earlier in the week on one of our programs, I don't remember which one now, but we talked about David Savard and his struggles. David Savard has an illness. It's a non-COVID illness. He is not going to play tonight. That means we'll see the season debut of Gabriel Carlsson.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big loss because, you know, the Blue Jackets are starting to play their game, a little physical play defensively, blocking shots, and that's something that David Savard has really picked up the pace in. But I'm excited to see Gabriel Carlsson. It's a guy that's kind of been lost a little bit in this organization. He did have an injury last year. He's a player that we talked about and saw him a couple of years ago, immediately in the playoffs, actually. He's a big guy who's got something to prove, and he's in a depth chart, which he's probably not happy with where he sits. So this is his opportunity to get in with a D-core that's a little bit in flux as far as not as steady and not playing to the expectations that we all expect, and I think they expect. He's going to try to get in there and play a rock-solid game. And when you think of Gabriel Carlsson, that's what he is. He's big with long reach. He makes very few mistakes, and he's steady back there. So let's see how quickly he can get in this, which I think is going to be a fun game with two desperate teams here.
Do you see this as Dean Kukin really being in the doghouse because he's not going back into the lineup now, or do you see this as just the opportunity to let Carlsson play?
I think they've got to let Carlsson play. I really do. I think that, you know, they know what's happening with Kukin. I think you have a guy, and it's tough to balance the taxi squad and the guys who are practicing and then sending guys to Cleveland. I think there's a lot of moving parts. So I think this is a chance where they sit back and say, okay, let's see what he can do. Let's at least give him a shot here and see what happens.
All right, Elvis is going to start in net for the second straight game. He's coming off a shutout. Even he, after the game, said, look, I didn't play my best. I haven't felt like myself like I did last year, but results are results, 3-0. The team battled in front of him. He deserves this, right?
Yeah, I think he did a good job. He outcompeted the netminder at the other end. You know, the goals against Saros, they weren't solid. They weren't great. I mean, the Rainbow one, whatever, but, you know, I think that he's done enough, and the way he competed and the way he looked confident early might have settled down the players in front of him a little bit. So I credit him for playing a good game, his best game of the season, obviously, and he's earned the back-to-back. So now the competition has started. You know, Korpisalo got those games in a row because Elvis was out with an injury, but now Elvis comes back a lot like last year. Do you remember when the injury happened and Elvis jumped in and then he took it? Well, now he sees an opportunity after his injury, and now the competition has started because Jonas Korpisalo would not be a happy person today. He wants to be in the net. So this is Elvis competing, and this is a very positive thing for the Blue Jackets organization.
You mentioned this will be a battle of two desperate teams. The game was a little bit chippy at points the other night. I'm interested to see if that carries over. But for Nashville, they're getting into must-win territory here because they're falling too far behind the pack in this Central Division. You know, the guy I noticed the most from them, and they've got guys that are out of their lineup because of injury, but Roman Josi, their captain, was all over the place. This guy's not afraid to skate. He's not afraid to leave that blue line, and he sure isn't afraid to shoot the puck.
This guy is a world-class superstar, and the way he carries the puck and initiates the play, I mean, if he could have played a full 60 minutes, they would have rode him. but he had to, when he was on the ice, he just is so strong. He's got a great shot, but he's like Torch said after the game, he's like a forward out there. He's up behind the goal line. He's in the middle of the ice. He's taking and challenging players one-on-one offensively, but he's also great defensively. So, you know what? They're going to go after Elvis tonight. They're going to go after the blue paint, much like the Blue Jackets want to do. Look for that blue area right in front of the goalie to try to establish a presence. And coming out off a shutout, being shut out in the Predators, they're going to go right after him and stand on the edge of that paint and try to get him rattled. So look for them to go after him early. And Yossi's going to be the one to lead the way.
Two guys that jump to my mind when you say that, Rocco Grimaldi and Luke Cunnin.
Yeah, and the other guy is Nick Cousins. I mean, he's a guy that stirs it up. It seems like every time he's on the ice, he's got a smirk and he's got something to say. But you're right, Grimaldi's quick, and he plays on the edge. And with that speed, he's hard to contain at times, and he pushes D back. But look for those three to try to be a presence and make some noise out there in front of Elvis Merzlikins.
Puck will drop at 7 o'clock tonight at Nationwide Arena. Pregame coverage starts at 6:30, both on Fox Sports Ohio and on the Blue Jackets Radio Network. That'll do it for today's Rink Report. It's been brought to you by Ohio Credit Union. For Jody, Shelley, I'm Bob McElligott. Enjoy the game.